Good morning. Today we are going to be trying to create our budget for the budget challenge. And I have shared with you a budget worksheet that goes through all 10 weeks. You'll see that this first one is only going to cover from February 3rd to 10th. The next several are going to cover 2 weeks. And the last one is only going to cover a week. If I gave you a spot that says paycheck, that means that you will get paid at the beginning of that time period. On the first one, you notice there's not a paycheck spot. That means that's the start of the game, and the game starts halfway through your pay period. And so you'll have a starting amount of your budget, but you will not have extra. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that calendar you created over the last week, and we're going to translate this into our budget. So I'm going to go ahead and look. My first payday is on the 11th. So from the 3rd, when the game starts, to the 11th, I only have one bill due. So that's one that I need to definitely make sure is in here. And so I'm going to keep the same formatting. I'm going to use that black highlighting with white for my rent. And I'll come over here and I'll paste it in. And then I need to look up and see how much my rent is, because remember, this is a different amount of rent for this first one. So if you got the 3-bedroom apartment, that means your first rent is $1,014.29. $1,014.29. And it is due between the 1st and, excuse me as I flip around calendars, between the 1st and the 8th, every single pay period. So let's look at the pay period starting the 25th through the 11th of March, with the next time I have to pay rent. So right here, February 25th through the 11th of March, I'm paying rent. This time it'll only be that $500, because every other month it's going to be that $500. And go back over to my calendar. And in April, I could either pay it out of the pay period that starts on the 25th and ends on the 7th, or the other ones. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the first one, and if I need to, I realize I can change that around. So rent, and I put that as $500. We start noticing that, see how these numbers at the bottom, my ending balance is changing. That one's supposed to be bold. And I'm starting to have negative because I haven't put in that I actually get paid. So I have not filled in my paychecks. So let's see if we can go in there and fill in our paychecks. And I want you to default it to whatever you decide for your first paycheck. And then if you make changes through, because remember you can change your 401k %, and that's something that I encourage looking at, and you may need to adjust frequently. That's the only way you can actually make more money. So I did it at 11%, so $1,101.64. $1,101.64. And that's going to be my same amount I'm going to get paid, $1,101.64 all the way through. So go ahead and adjust that. Okay, so now I no longer have any reds down here. That's good. Red means that I have overdone on my budget, so I need to make sure that that ending balance stays positive on all my pay periods. Otherwise, I have a problem. And then go back over here to your calendar. And now let's look and see what's the next thing that I have due. And that's my credit card. And remember, I told you I would like y'all to schedule your credit card to be paid. Oh, let me go ahead and copy it so I can remember what color I used. I would like y'all to make a payment to your credit card every pay period so that you can stay on top of your spending on the credit card. Because remember, they are going to be charging between 500 and 750 every month. So we need to make sure we stay on top of what their charges are. And so you need to make a plan to pay somewhere between 200 and 300 at least every period. And so I'm just going to go ahead and over a month, you need to pay at least 500. I recommend being prepared to pay a lot more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 300 on this next one as well. And I'm going to keep putting 300 and hopefully that'll keep me on top of it. We will see more of how much they charge at the beginning of the game when we start the game, and that number for that first one may need to be adjusted. But as long as we keep that credit card balance below 500, then we have earned 5 extra points for the game each day. So I'm going to go back over to my calendar. And the next thing I have due is my renter's insurance. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that over. And I'm going to schedule that. If I look at my first one, I'm already down to $189. So I don't have room this pay period to put, so I'm going to put it in my second one. And then I need to come over to figure out how much do I owe. And if you can do this through looking at this chart, or you can do it off of your one sheet that I gave y'all earlier. And I chose option 2, which was $250. And so I'm going to go ahead and record $250. I only have to pay the renter's insurance once, so that's my one time of having to pay it. So that one's already taken care of. And then you will go through and do the same process. You'll make a decision which pay period I want to pay it out of. If it splits between 2, where you could pay it over 2 different ones. But make sure all of your bills are paid. You should end up with most bills being paid twice. Rent and credit card are both going to be paid 3 times. And both of your insurances are only going to get paid once. I put those notes inside a classroom so you have an idea. And y'all can go ahead and get started on working on building out your budget. The goal in a budget, remember, is to stay positive. So if you end up with your ending balance being negative, you need to either go back and readjust. And some of the things you can readjust is you can take less out of your paycheck that pay period, or adjust how much you're putting towards your credit card. Or if you have a bill that can be paid over 2 different pay periods, maybe if you have it on the first one, move it to the second one. You will also, sometime around week 3, get a security deposit back, refund, somewhere in the neighborhood of 200, a little bit more than that sometimes. We'll see that either show up in this pay period or in this next one.